everybody, I hope your writing is going well if you're participating in NaNoWriMo. Today I wanted to talk about something that seems pretty simple, but I get asked this question all the time, and that is, what does a freelancer do? First of all, before we get into that, just want to note that Remus is being extra monstrous today, and he may make some noise, but that's okay because we love him. Look at this face. He's not even a baby anymore. He's a teenager. Ugh. Anyway, if you're new here, you may not know that I am a full-time freelance book editor. I do some editing that isn't book related, but the majority of what I do is book editing. And I launched my editorial business about four years ago. Since becoming an editor, I've had my feet in a lot of different types of projects. And there's definitely some types of editing that I don't offer or I don't have experience in. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to talk about several different kinds of editing that you may be interested in. I think it's good to talk about the spectrum of editorial services freelancers offer in case you're interested in becoming a freelance editor or in case you're interested in hiring a freelance editor. So first and foremost, editorial services. Freelance editors offer a variety of editorial services. And I'll link down below a video that I made where I talk about the different levels of editing, but that could be anything from proofreading to copy editing or line-by-line editing, content or substantive editing, developmental editing. So it's definitely a range. And editors can offer anything from marketability assessments to mentoring services, manuscript critiques, evaluations. And sometimes they offer writing services as well. So that could branch off into co-authoring, ghostwriting, and rewriting, heavy rewrites. Now, Remus, why? It's important to note that different editors defined all of these terms pretty differently. Actually, I was talking about this recently on a podcast that I was interviewed for called How Authors Work, and it's the team at BetaBooks who run that podcast. So anyway, I will leave all that information down below in case you want to listen to it. But basically, I was talking to Paul and Andrew about this idea of vocabulary in the industry and how it can be pretty frustrating when there are so many definitions for the same word. So unfortunately, that's just the reality of how it is. So I always tell authors to do your research. If you know what type of editing you're looking for, make sure you do your research and figure out if the editor you're interested in defines that service the same way, because it could really vary. Side note for that podcast I just mentioned, I do want to have a little plug here for my friends Paul and Andrew and their business BetaBooks. Basically, it's a way for authors to connect with beta readers and share their feedback. Well, it's really a way for them to collect and organize their feedback. But yeah, I will leave all that information down below. All right, I'm gonna have to put you up. Really? So anyway, there are other related services that don't really fall within editorial or writing categories. And that could include anything from transcribing, indexing, data entry, research, and also translating. And so I'm going to spend some time in other videos talking at length about some of the editorial services that freelancers offer. But I did want to touch on in this video the writing and other related services that you can find through a freelance editor. So first we have rewriting, and with rewriting, editors usually have material already there, so they're reworking notes or text or transcriptions. No new material is developed or researched, and usually the author or client will have all of that material that needs to be rewritten up front. The manuscript will usually receive additional copy editing or proofreading after it's been rewritten, but that's kind of the gist for rewriting services. Secondly, we have ghostwriting, and a ghostwriter is provided with resources up front, whether it's an outline or notes or audio files. So the ghostwriter writes the manuscript, usually working closely with the author, and new material is developed and researched, but the author retains all rights and receives all royalties. In the past, ghostwriters don't have their names included in the author bylines, but this is becoming more and more common to have some sort of acknowledgement. You won't see that with like celebrity books, however. Co-authoring is where you work with another author. So you're both contributing in some way, or however many authors there are for that project. Usually authors do contribute to the manuscript equally for co-authoring, and they typically share the rights and split royalties. So for the related services, first we have transcribing. Transcription is basically the process of recording messages, either audio, video, or handwritten pages. So it's the process of transcribing that onto a computer document. It's not the sexiest job in the world, I will say, as somebody who's done it, but it does seem to be a steady way to make money for a lot of freelance editors. There's no editing involved at all in transcription. In fact, the goal is to really try to stay as authentic as possible to the original document. So you really can't make changes at all with just a transcription, but oftentimes editors get paid to do a copy edit or proofread or some kind of cleanup process after the transcription. And really this is necessary no matter what. And then we have data entry, another not so sexy editing related task. This is when printed or typed text on paper is entered into a computer document. So this is pretty self-explanatory, no editing really, but page proofing is really important for data entry. And next we have indexing, and this is really the process of looking at a manuscript and figuring out what content is most necessary for the reader. Editors create an indexed and alphabetical list of references to important terms and concepts in the text. This work is typically done toward the end of a project when the final layout is accessible, basically. Editors also sometimes offer translating services, and that's basically when a manuscript is converted from one language to another. This is a very tedious process that requires extreme provision, and obviously you have to be fluent in another language to make this happen. And lastly, editors can sometimes provide research services. A researcher can do anything from finding reliable sources to support a thesis or a claim to providing documentation. And sometimes they actually play a part in securing permission when it comes to copyright laws and things like that. For fiction, a researcher may make sure that all the names and descriptions kind of fall in line with the appropriate time period or the appropriate location, especially if it's historical fiction. So yeah, that's pretty much an overview of all the different services that freelance editors can offer. I'm sure I missed a few of them. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in seeing more editor or writer related content on this channel, make sure to subscribe. In fact, if you hit that little bell, it'll notify you whenever I make a new video, which is hopefully every single day this month. So please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below. Also, let me know down below if you offer any of the services that I just mentioned, or if you're looking for somebody who offers those services. I would love to make this video and this whole NaNoWriMo series in general not just a dialogue, but also a resource to connect authors and editors. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.